Hi, everyone. Okay, I'm just going to do this. It seems that the universe has given me answers to things that both I knew I needed answers for, as well as other insights that are helping me so much. I am going to share 4 different stories today, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then summarize it all in a longer discussion on Instagram at noon. These are lessons about banning shame, lessons about choosing love or soul over fear and judgment. Most importantly, finding a middle ground between our true self and the way our survivalist mind works. You've heard me say, we have a choice every day between love and fear or judgment. This alone is a basic mantra that I hold within my heart throughout the day. Why? I learned it the hard way. I learned it from my therapist, Miriam Paul, who was in the book and who still is my therapist to this day. It was that practical understanding that I had that choice every day and every moment. And if I've ended the day in general knowing that I chose love, meaning self-compassion, less projections of fears and judgments onto others, compassionate responses. If I end a day knowing that I tried my best to choose love over fear and judgment, it's a pretty darn good day. It's an awesome day. Every time that I have done that, more and more layers from old core wounds have been lifted. Every single day that I see that I'm choosing love over mind, love, soul, over allowing my survivalist mind to run to stand still. Every day I do that, I wait for more and more intuition to come, and the answers come from the soul, from the intuition, from the wisdom. That is what happened in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, while traveling with my sons and their father. Something we do, something we commit to do every summer. And it really is quite a beautiful thing that we do it. But this time, it really opened my eyes to answers that I needed. So again, you often hear me say, choose love over fear and judgment. Easier said than done. Like, what do I mean by that? So the key things that I remember in the last 10 days or so are what I call living the work. One basic premise to start with. We have a choice every day between love, our soul, our intuition, our true self, and fear or judgment, which is 99% of our thoughts are fear-based, judgment-based, whether on self or others. Second, I also learned from my therapist, anything that anybody does or says is either an act of love or a cry for it. By simply taking this phrase along with you in your day or for the rest of today, this will help you to choose love over fear and judgment. My therapist taught me life, relationships, interactions are opportunities to heal. Not to necessarily find our identity or our role in another person, but really to observe ourselves in it. Because every time we are triggered by anything or anyone, there is a core wound within us that is calling to be lifted, calling to give more intuition and guidance when we sit and we listen to our soul in love. So anytime that I am triggered, that you are triggered by anything in a relationship, have self-compassion and know it is coming from a core wound that has created layers that block us from deeper, wiser connection to the truth and our true selves. So one, we have a choice every day between love or soul and fear or judgment, the mind, survivalist. Two, anything that anybody does is either an act of love or a cry for love, including ourselves. Third, relationships and life. It, God, the universe, has us here because all of it provides opportunities for us to heal and lift more and more layers to our true self, to the truth. We can all agree that something that the greatest physicists and scientists, Albert Einstein, all the others actually argued over trying to define. There is something that created life, that created the universe, that created it all. Have your own interpretation, be agnostic, atheist, or in the middle. That's irrelevant. We know that something had a spark. Something started it all. From that spark and from that space, there was no fear and judgment. Had there been, do you think that it would have created life and the universe? And if so, yes, it is a finite being, a soul in a body with a mind to discover its true self. But the one thing that we can all agree on is the unanswered questions about what started it all. It is from that space that the journey to healing, the journey to choosing love over fear and judgment will arrive and can exist. We don't know what created all of this, but there was no fear and judgment in that space. Our mind is survivalist in nature. And I ask you one thing: to observe when your thoughts are fear and judgment based. The more and more that I did that, the more and more I became closer to the truth and my true self, and the only truth that matters. And that is that we are infinite beings, whole, divine, and complete, and nothing that anyone has said or done, including ourselves, changes that. Knowing how our mind works did wonders for me. When I realized how I was responding to projections of life, I took space within myself more and more to feel calm and safe in my body. More and more. Then through that connection, was able to stop a disassociated mode, embrace it when I recognized it, and to stand back and let the universe deliver its answers. Let intuition come. Right. Take a break from everything. And that's what I did. I have been back for a couple of days now, and I kept getting answers and insight that are so fascinating. I will share 4 different stories. Remember these phrases as you go along. 1, we're in this together. And 2, he's just a brat and you're crazy. 2 very different responses. One coming from a place of love, where there's no shame or shaming. The other coming from a place of fear and judgment, and how our mind works, where there is nothing but shame and shaming. The first part of this story is how on our first morning in Yosemite, the boys restless and eager to get out, me very excited that they were getting off of their iPads, ventured out the back of the Yosemite Lodge and wanted to follow a trail. And I embraced that. I wholeheartedly embraced it despite my fears of their father not knowing or not being able to catch up. And so I texted and let him know, and he decided to not join us. As I was letting the boys be in their element, some photos of which I shared here, they were trying to skip rocks on a pond or stream. They built a very cool piece of art. I shared that, and other things. And as we were exploring, they wanted to venture up some rocks. And off I went, and we went on these huge rocks on the side of this mountain. I helped them along a couple, and again was embracing them being in their element, being in the element and beauty of Yosemite, and not at all or consciously allowing my self-conscious parenting mind of, oh, we're going to get lost, or bad boy, you're so, he was very, 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 very earnest about continuing on this path. I had no criticism for that. Nothing of the sort that was, you don't listen. No. I knew that in that moment I was making a choice that was not fear and judgment based, that was choosing love. So up we climbed, and at some point, one of my twins couldn't get down from this certain point, or was trying to and got stuck by a branch. And so I helped him down, and I said, it's time to head back. Gave him a little warning, a little prep. And as we're going down, we see how far we've gone. In my mind, always knowing that if I looked up, I could probably see the lodge over the rocks and the trees, which I did. As we're going down, their little minds, I think, saw, wow, we've gone far. And I said, we're in this together. We're in this together. Trying to use the opportunity of our adventure and our exploration as maybe a teaching moment. It just spontaneously came out of my head, and it turned out to be one. It wasn't a conscientious thing. Yet, this is called living the work. And so we ventured down. Sure enough, it didn't take long for us to get back to the path we began on. Piggybacking each twin in separate times, we so happily got back in together into the Yosemite Lodge. And that one message stood in their minds loud and clear. We're in this together. Whether rock climbing adventure or whether life, whatever might come our way, we are in this together. Stay tuned for tomorrow's next story, that is related to that saying. So powerful, so cool. And thank you for letting me be of service. And thank you for listening. Use Ban Shame discount code on IndieBound to order Home is Within You. Get a free Ban Shame tip sheet on my website that includes a collection of sayings I've collected over the years. Thank you again for listening to part 1. Sending warm hugs.